I'm going to go through a teardown in this vintage 8-horse Briggs Stratton. This thing's actually pretty ancient. I think it's from 1972. So it's pretty neat. It's actually from my lawn lion project. I was going to put an 18-horse twin on it, but I really like this vintage 8-horse. So I'm going to try to take this thing apart and see if I can fix it and put it back in it. Alright, I think I'm first going to start with the spark plug, which is already loose. Looks kind of crappy, not too bad. I already started taking this thing apart, and then I figured you guys might want to see it. So here we are. I think we're going to start with the muffler. And let's see what we look like on the camera here. Zip this guy off. Zip this guy off. There's our muffler. Then the intake and carb. This has like a hex on it with a slot going through, so I just used a flathead screwdriver. And yes, this was already loosened earlier, but it wasn't that tight. And I made sure I took pictures of all the linkages and everything before I took it apart. I don't even know if I'm going to keep this carburetor though. I might try to do something cool. I don't know. Set that aside. Let's see. 3/8. Oh. 16s. And now 7/16. Get the shroud off. See if she comes off. Oh yeah. Came right off. And I'm going to just put these bolts back in where they came from. And just lightly zip them down. Okay. All right, now I'll take the head off. I already had all these out too, so they're all just loose. Okay, let's see if you can see this. Some of these are like a stud. The rest are bolts. There's one more bolt. So I'll just set this aside. Look at that. This thing was really burning oil, and it's apparent. A lot of crap in there. So when I had this apart, I don't know if you guys can see this, but when I originally had this apart, I noticed there's some severe scratching in here. So I got it apart this far, and I did a quick hone job on it just to see if they'd go away, and they're not. So they're pretty beat. The cylinder wall, I mean. So I guess I'm going to have to dig into it further. All right, I flipped this thing up. Got out of my fancy engine stand for now. There's a little bolt here for this shrouding piece. Take that out, and I'm going to put that guy back in. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it back over. And this wire's in the way. Linkage is kind of in the way. I'll zip this out. And that exposes our valve springs. You see them right there. Lighting isn't great, I apologize. Now I'm going to remove the valve springs, this fancy tool here. I'm not going to film it because I usually fumble around with it for a while. So in about 2 seconds, it'll be magic and they'll be out. Just like that, it's magic. Got them out. Pain. I don't know why I struggle so much with those stupid things, but I do. So, got my exhaust valve and my intake valve and everything associated with it. Okay, now I'm going to take off this coil. And it looks like this little fan screen is the same size-ish. Oh, maybe not. It's stripping. And that one's coming out. Yeah, that one's not coming out. Grab my tiny little vice grips. Get this guy to crack loose. There it goes. Alright. I gotta get this clutch off of here for the rewind. Okay, well, I had a couple errors happen and not proud of it. But anyway, got that little clutch off. That was cute. But while I was taking that off, I was holding this with a pry bar. Don't hold it here because it snapped off this ear that holds the coil on. I'm pretty sure I can JB weld that. Well, that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to try. Anyway, I got a puller kind of half-ass set up on here, and we're going to try to get the stupid flywheel off. Got the stupid thing set up. I had to screw around with it a little bit, but I'm going to try to take it off with an impact. I'm sure that's not recommended. But it worked. Oh, and don't forget your little woodruff key. Okay, now that I have this thing tipped over, I'm going to zip out these bolts here. Looks like we got one here. So far they're all the same length. One here. One here. And that should be it. Tap her in. Probably going to lose a little oil. I already drained it ahead of time, but alright, so I got this guy out. Set that aside. And we have our oil slinger. And our camshaft here. Whoa, there she goes. Tappets. keep track of which ones went where. This was the exhaust. Intake. A fancy camshaft right there. See that? All metal, no plastic. Old school. And I'm going to get this connecting rod off of here. Pop these bolts off and I'll get that off next. Got these rod bolt tabs bent back enough to probably get my ratchet in there. Sure. Let's try to get this thing off of there. There's one loose. There's another one loose. Okay. Take these bolts out. Get our cap off. Put it right back in the same way it went. Get this rod up. There we go. There we go. Get our piston out of there. And let's take a look at it. These rings look pretty bad. But we know the cylinder looks bad. I'll show you later. I'll pop this crank out. Looks like it's alright. From what I can tell, but that's just eyeballing it. And we'll take a look inside the cylinder. It's kind of scratched up. I'm spilling oil everywhere. But it is pretty scratched up. I don't know. I'm going to have to see. Yeah, this side especially. You can see that. It's pretty bad. Yeah, you can see those scratches. Pretty bad. So I'm going to see if an oversized piston is available, and I'm going to have it machined out and rebuild it.